This is the Blockchain Real Estate Podcast, sponsored by the Blockchain Real Estate Summit. If you're interested in the intersection of real estate, blockchain technology, AI, and more, you've come to the right place. Don't miss your opportunity to attend the Blockchain Real Estate Summit 2024, happening this September 24th through 26th, online for our worldwide audience. Get your tickets at blockchainrealestatesummit.com/registration. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. We are back with the Blockchain Real Estate Summit podcast. We got a great show for you today. We've got Alan from Blue222 here to discuss with us one of the most important, but one of the most forgotten issues in all of real estate. It's real estate due diligence for acquisitions. And with that, I just want to remind everybody that the Blockchain Real Estate Summit is coming up soon, September 24th through 26th. It's all online. It's 3 days, 3 time zones. You do not want to miss it. There's not only blockchain technology, NFTs, metaverse, everything, and a lot of excellent property technology companies, which is why we're bringing you today, Alan. So with that, Alan, would you give us a little bit of information on your background and how you ended up in the exciting world of PropTech?
Sure. Hey, Michael, thanks for having me on. I have been in PropTech for a long time. I started my environmental career, real estate career, doing environmental inspections for commercial properties. I worked for an environmental consulting firm. And somewhere along the way, I decided that I could do it better than the firm I was working for and started a company that just did environmental inspections. So that was a company called ESA1. We ended up eventually raising venture capital and building a nationwide company that was very high tech for its time, built our own software that managed the whole workflow. And we did environmental inspections, property condition assessments, and work like that all over the United States. We eventually sold that to a company in North Carolina called the EI Group, and it continues to operate today nationwide doing environmental inspections. And I worked for that company for a while and then saw the opportunity. The easiest way to explain what I was thinking is I could click a button on my phone and a car would show up in 5 minutes to take me to the airport. But it took 4 days to get bids back from appraisers or environmental consultants or anybody that was doing a real estate inspection. And it still stands today like that. So it's I think it was probably 1995 that people started using email, and that's the same technology that the real estate industry uses today to do most of the inspection work. So any kind of appraisals, environmental assessments, surveys, all of that work is still very manually processed with emails and phone calls. And I just thought somebody's got to come up with a better way to do this. So we started building Blue222, which is software that manages the whole bidding and scheduling process for real estate inspections.
Yeah, and backing up there a little bit, when you first told me about Blue222, because as usual, it wasn't that exciting for me. But when you described it to me, it's like everybody right now is using email and spreadsheets, to do a lot of this stuff. And what yours does is aggregates that into a marketplace. And I'm not sure might even want to back up a little bit more. Why is it important to do real estate due diligence? I mean, why would anybody want to do due diligence on real estate? And even if you're investing into like the shares of a real estate development or the shares of a real estate project, why would you want to know that this stuff is done? I mean, why does anybody do it? And then another thing is, how big is this industry?
Yeah, so the simple answer is to protect your collateral value. So if you're going to borrow money from a bank to buy a property, that could be a home, that could be a commercial property of any type, the lender wants to make sure that the property is worth what you say it's worth. And so an appraisal is going to tell you the value of that property. An environmental inspection, if it's a commercial property, is going to show you whether or not there are environmental problems that would hurt the value of the property. Property condition assessment would tell you if there are major repairs that need to be performed on a building and that sort of thing. So, and all the way down to home inspections, appraisals, pest inspections. Anytime you're buying a property, there's the potential that there's a problem on that property that makes it worth a lot less than you think. So that's the driver for doing all of these types of inspections, and it's global. So it varies in terms of the level of due diligence probably that would be required in different countries, but it ends up being somewhere in our calculations, it ends up being somewhere around a $19 billion market in the United States and about a $92 billion market globally. And that's all sorts of real estate inspections that are, just thousands and thousands of them happening every day. So it's a huge market.
And those numbers are because you had a statistic at one point. How much real estate trades per year? Like it's in the trillions, correct?
About 4 trillion. So there's about $4 trillion in real estate transactions every year in the world, and somewhere in the neighborhood of 200, at least the last number I saw was $228 trillion in value in the real estate market worldwide.
Right. Yeah, I've seen it anywhere, and I think China lost a little bit of value. They were a big part of that, but 280, it's over $200 trillion of real estate, but $4 trillion trades a year. I don't think people realize the importance of, before you close on the property, these environmental inspections could save you from losing the property or could save you from buying a property that is unusable. For example, a lot of people now are doing the radon and the mold tests, and you don't want to move into a house. You don't want to have a office building that's unusable or creates sickness. So that's, the big part of this. What other type of inspections are in the Blue222.com marketplace?
Well, let me back up and add one thing to that risk on the environment. So on the environmental side, there's also Superfund risk, and that's something people don't realize. That's what drove a lot of the environmental inspection part of the business. If you buy a property and you don't do any due diligence on it, and I see this happen, you see it happen a lot with a commercial developer may look at a property and say, it looks fine, looks like there's never been anything there. If you buy that property without doing proper environmental due diligence, you're buying the problem. And if it is it could be $100 million Superfund cleanup. So, and if you buy that, it's called strict joint and severable liability, meaning they will go after whoever has deep pockets, whoever had anything to do with that property. So it's huge liability.
That was one of the problems with that law, because it's like anybody who even touches it remotely is automatically responsible for 100% of the cleanup, which just made a ton of money for the attorneys. But bringing up that risk, we were involved with a mall in the, and I was just, mentioning it because we were out in Michigan City, but we were involved with a mall in Michigan City, Indiana. And it was named part of a Superfund site because their garbage collection at one time went into a dump that was part of the Superfund. So they went after everybody.
Yep.
So it's something that, is really important that it's not only could you lose your property, but you could actually be liable for hundreds of millions of dollars, as you said, in the United States. And I don't know, how it works. And we also had another shopping center that it was downstream from a PCB factory. So everything underneath the shopping center, the bank wouldn't even foreclose on it because everything under the shopping center was contaminated. So
yeah, it can be some pretty scary liability.
Yeah. So that's the importance of doing due diligence. Also, it's important to make sure that even though there's a meeting of the minds on buying something, it's important to have an appraiser come by and say, yeah, these look like the right numbers and here's the stuff. So that gives some assurance to the bank that they're not just throwing more money out to something that is not really there.
Yep.
So anyway, let's, move into, how does Blue222 operate that, would be different? Like if I'm buying a shopping center right now, could I go on to Blue222? Because all the time I need to get PCAs, which are property condition assessments,
Mhm.
and environmental stuff. So who most uses Blue222?
Yeah. So earlier you had asked what types of services, and I'll kind of answer all these questions together. So um, the majority of the vendors that we have on the system right now are commercial. They are environmental inspectors, property condition assessors, surveyors, and we do have a lot of home inspectors on the system. And it's set up so that anybody can go on there and set up an account. And once that account's approved, then you can search for vendors and you can bid the project through the system. Um, the biggest use on the system right now is national clients that are using the system to manage a fleet of 1099 contractors. So they are companies that want to build a nationwide presence to do environmental inspections or asbestos surveys or whatever it may be, can use the system to manage the work. And the way it currently works is you have a module on the system that allows you to build out your vendor list. You can see a map, you can see all kinds of qualifications for those vendors, you can track their quality, you can see quality reviews from other clients, and you can build out your list of approved vendors. You can invite, if you have a spreadsheet with 500 vendors on it, you can invite them all into the system and then track them all through the system. And then from a single dashboard, the real value comes to when some banks, some developers, some companies that are buying, restaurant companies that are buying a lot of real estate, they may have 10 people in a room that are sending out emails to appraisers and surveyors and all the different inspectors that are working on their properties, and they're getting emails back with bids and they're tracking it all on spreadsheets. And I've seen huge companies that are still doing that. They're still sending out huge bunch of bulk email to a whole bunch of inspectors and getting bids back, and somebody's trying to track which property it goes with. And then lots of mistakes happen when they're doing that. With our system, you could take that room full of 10 people or whatever it may be and reduce it down to one or two, because all of the back and forth with the vendors is automated. So you go in and you select you put your property location in, you select the type of service that you need, and then the system goes out and finds the right vendors. And it gives you a list of them. You can select one or all, or part of them or all of them. And then the system will reach out, get bids from them, pull them all together in one place. And so all of the emails or texts or anything that needs to happen to corral those vendors to get their bids in happens automatically. So
Right.
you don't have to do that. And then you can see all of your bids in one place, select the vendor. When you select the vendor, it automatically notifies everybody who didn't get the project, automatically notifies the person who did get the project. And then you have drop boxes where you can share information, share report information with that vendor and manage the project. So most of the busy work that typically takes place by email is now done automatically, and one or two people can manage hundreds of projects per month instead of a big room full of people.
Right, right. And that's important, whether you're one person or, for example, a real estate broker that's trying to manage transactions and, trying to get stuff done. It's really helpful for them. It sounds like it's great for banks to use, because a lot of times you as the buyer can't select the property contractor. They, want an arm's length situation, so the banks can go in there and say, here's what it is, you guys do the scheduling and everything. But what really sounds good is, I do retail real estate, or that's, been my background. And some of these tenants, like, some of these hot restaurant tenants are just like opening up, sometimes like every other day or every 2 days, they're just like banging out stores. And to have all those closings and to have all that in one place, or to buy a portfolio, so you're buying, as you said, there's one franchise, company expanding and buying another, company and trying to put them into their system. It really streamlines stuff a lot. And we circle back to how does this help anybody, and why are we talking about this on the Blockchain Real Estate Summit? Because the important thing is that anytime you're investing in real estate, you want to know that this stuff and the data is there, and so that the work has already been done. So even if you're, buying the shares of a property, that there's none of these issues, and that the proper due diligence has been done, and you should be underwriting it just like you would be if you were, making a bank loan to somebody.
Right. It's a huge part of the real estate industry, just making sure that there's not a problem on the property and that collateral value is what everybody says it is.
Now, in terms of, there's a lot of times we need to go back and get additional information and things. So you've already bought the property, and let's say asbestos or an underground storage tank comes up. You could potentially go back to the same contractor, or you could bid it out, correct?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the system is set up so that when you're using it for your transactions, you have all of your previous data in the system, and you can just use that as your storage location. Then when you need to refinance that property or whatever it may be, you can go back in and see what you did previously. Nobody else is going to have access to it, so you can't reuse a report that was ordered by somebody else, paid for by somebody else, but you can use a vendor that has previously done work on that property, and they can just use a lot of the information that they already have, reduce the price. And that's a lot of what we're trying to accomplish with this system is more efficiency in the entire market. So the more people that are using our system, the more efficient everything becomes, because you're getting people, you're finding vendors that are close to a location. In the industry, I've been in it for a long time, and I've seen companies that are doing national work, and they may have 5 or 10 people that they're flying all over the country to do their environmental inspections or property condition assessments. And those people often don't know the market that they're going into.
Right.
When there would be somebody, you're flying somebody from Chicago to Charleston, South Carolina to do an environmental inspection, when meanwhile there's hundreds and hundreds of people in Charleston that know the market really well that can go out and do that inspection. So the whole thing is pretty inefficient, and especially as you get into bigger and bigger commercial properties, it's a very inefficient industry, lots of travel costs built into the projects. And our system, the intent long term is to get more of those vendors working and getting the projects that are close to their home, instead of someone flying in from somewhere else to do it. And at the same time, the client that's ordering those services, they're getting lower prices. They're getting faster turnaround because they're finding somebody right there that can just jump on it. They can see the quality of that person and send them right out to do the job.
Yeah, and you also hit on a big thing. It's, if you've already had the deal and you've done it, and then all of a sudden there's some sort of transaction or something happening, within a year's time or a certain period of time, it's much less expensive and much faster to get all the data from the original appraisal, the original environmental report, and just update it versus, saying we're going to start from scratch.
Yep.
And fly the guy in from Chicago.
Yeah, and long term, a lot of our intent is to, the biggest value of our whole system is a database that keeps growing, keeps getting better information in it. Has a lot more information about what someone's good at, and potentially aligns the right client. Let's say that a client has a property that they're refinancing. It's going to hopefully align them with someone that already is familiar with that property. So as our system gets smarter, and it can align more the right vendors with the right projects. All of those things get better. So the people that have already worked on that site are going to be nudged toward those projects.
Okay. Okay. Alan, is there anything else that we should really know about? I mean, we hit on how big the industry is. We hit on that. One of the major blockages in terms of getting a deal done is getting the inspections done. Because I've seen it where people could close in 10 days and they had the cash and everything. And they just couldn't get the inspectors out. They couldn't coordinate that. And you automatically assume that it's going to be, 30 days. And sometimes if things are backed up, longer. So is there anything else that you wanted to hit on that Blue222 solves?
We do, you mentioned portfolios earlier, and that is one thing that we have built the ability to import an entire portfolio and launch it and manage it from one place. So that's a nice piece. And if you're in, I don't know, CMBS market or something like that, people are dealing with portfolios all the time. So we have built in a lot of cool features like that help make that more efficient. Maybe something else I would mention is the flexibility of the system. So it's not set up to only work for a bank or a big real estate company or something. It's set up so that if you've got a buddy that's works for a nationwide bank and is sending work all over the country, and you have the right qualifications, you can build a national company on our system, overnight. You could just go on there, build out your vendor portfolio or your vendor fleet around the country, and you're up and running. In half a day, you could have that set up.
Well, and let's hit on that, because one of the astounding things that you told me is if you've got an environmental company, and let's say you've got a team and you're in the south of France, you said this will scale worldwide, correct? Yep. So why don't you explain how that can happen?
Yeah, so literally right now, if you were a bank in Germany or South Africa or wherever you might be, or you're a home inspection company and you want to manage your vendors all over the country or in other countries, you could go on to Blue222 this afternoon. You could import all of your vendors and start managing them. Now we're not going to have at the moment, we're not going to have a whole bunch of people that are already in there, but it's set up so you can import. If you've got 100 vendors that you're already working with, you can import those vendors and you can use all of the system to manage all of those vendors in one place. So yeah, it's definitely, there's a huge global potential for what we're doing. And the big potential that I see for the system long term is that the APIs. So our intent is to continue. We've already got APIs into the system. So if you're a bank, you can plug your current system into our system. So you don't have to go in and retype property information. You can just shoot it into our system and get a project underway.
Alan, what is an API again?
So API is what does that stand for? I can't. I'm gonna brain fart on the.
Okay, that's but it's a computer thing that one software code can hook up to another software code. Is that?
Yeah, it's how. So if you have a computer program, the API is the code that talks to another computer program. So you would have a set of APIs, they would have a set of APIs, and you can have them talk to each other and send data back and forth. So a company like Stripe, Stripe is a credit card processor. They are extremely API friendly, so that if you're building a website and you want to take credit cards or you want to share fees with between vendors or whatever, you can set all of that up on Stripe, and it's really API friendly, where your website can talk to their website and get all of these things done. Well, our long-term goal is to make our website like Stripe, in that there's a very robust API library, so that if CBRE or Zillow or any big company or small company or new real estate technology company is building some sort of workflow for real estate transactions. When they get to the part where they need to get boots on the ground to do an inspection, their system just pings our system, and our system finds the right vendors, serves them up, gets bids to the client, gets bids to the end user, whatever it may be, and then you don't have to go out and build that part of your process to figure out how to get somebody on site to do an appraisal or a home inspection.
Yeah, and let's just stress that, because you've designed it from the beginning to do that, so that a vendor, pretty much anywhere in the world that there's Google Maps for, they could bootstrap their company into a national company, as you said, like in South Africa or someplace.
Yep.
So
yeah, and that's the way. So it's set up right now to where someone could go on, you can go on there and get started if you're a smaller company. We're also prepared right now. So if a larger company wants to build out capabilities to facilitate within their system or within their process, to automate the whole real estate inspection process, that's a big part of our game plan, and is to come on and then just charge some sort of a monthly fee, and that will go towards us doing the programming to connect with their APIs and to build out a customized system for them that works with their system. So that's a huge part of our business plan, is to work with larger clients and take the technology that we have already built and help them build something that really works for them.
And you're already doing this for a large customer, so I know that's the thing that I really like about Blue222 and your team, Alan, is that I get sent a lot of decks. I get a lot of people like bugging me on LinkedIn about, I've got this new PropTech startup, and it's got AI and it does this and it does that, and they don't even have anything built. It's like their thing is an idea, versus what I really respect about your team is that you've already built one. You built the original that was and it worked beautiful earlier on, and then you did a new iteration on it, which is much better, much more robust, and much more flexible, and you brought it into here in the 2020s for automation, and you guys actually have the software built. I can't tell you how many times I even talked to somebody that's like, do you even have an MVP? No, we just got a bunch of great ideas. So I think that's what's really unique about this. So why don't we talk about you guys, what's your expansion plans, and how are you going to accomplish that?
Yeah, so it's been, over the last year has really put a lot of time into figuring out what our expansion plans are going to be. And as you mentioned, we went through quite a bit of time of building a system and figuring out what works and what doesn't, working directly with smaller clients to figure out what they need, and then eventually working with a large client that uses our system to manage all of their whole company, all of their real estate inspections throughout the United States. So there's work being done every day in just about every state around the country on our system. So from there, I started working last year trying to figure out, well, how do we expand this and do it right? And I got really lucky. I met you, and I met several other people that understand what we're doing and see the value in it. And I've now put together a team that's unbelievably experienced in building global marketplaces. So at the moment, I probably won't go into a lot of details about who they are, but we've got one guy that worked on expanding Groupon and Orbitz and multiple other companies
Yeah,
into
we don't need to go on, but I can tell you that I'm probably the least accomplished on the calls. That's the type of brain trust that you put together there. So
yeah, it's amazing team that has experience in global marketplaces and real estate, in building real estate software that's operating in some of the largest real estate oriented companies in the world are using software built by people on this team. So and not just built by, but built from scratch, from the very people that started at the very beginning of building these companies and building amazing software. So I'm super excited about this team that's come together. And the plan from here is to we're currently raising capital to accelerate the whole process, and we'll be continually polishing up the system for sort of the core product for smaller clients, and then getting into reaching out to lots of larger clients and finding the right big players to work with to build out marketplaces that work for them.
right.
So that's really the plan is customization for large clients and a core product for smaller clients. Really getting good at digital marketing and a lot of educational information that we're putting out that drives people into the system.
Right. But the key thing is that already got a lot of happy and satisfied clients, and it's growing rapidly. If somebody wanted to get in touch with you, to talk about Blue222 as a client, as somebody that was interested in using the system, as a vendor, or somebody that's interested in investing in Blue222, how would they do that?
So you can reach me. If you Google me, you can find me pretty easily. Go to LinkedIn. I'm easy to find on LinkedIn.
It's
Blue222.com is our
how do you
website.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just talked over you, Alan. Can you repeat, how do you spell your last name too? So they can...
Okay, it's my first name is Alan. Last name is Grosheider. I've spelled that a lot of times in my life.
And also, so they could go to LinkedIn and find you there. What are some of the other places they can find you?
So LinkedIn and pretty much any social, and then blue222.com, and it's the numbers. Blue222.com is the main website. You can go on there and learn more about the product and sign up and try it out if you want to. You can book a meeting on there for a demo of the system if you want to see the system itself. You can also go to, if you're interested in investing, we are going to be aggressively going after investors in the next couple months. And that's blue222.com/invest. And you can go on there and see a little bit more about how you can learn, how you can get the full information package on investing in Blue222. And that's probably the best ways to reach me.
Well, and that invest page also has a great, summary of, what the product is and what it does.
Yep.
And the problems that Blue222 is solving, which is, has been the perennial problem of real estate, is speeding up transactions and making them more accurate and efficient. So,
and also on that page, there's you can book a meeting with me directly from that page. We're going to be having weekly webinars. You can book one of those webinars and attend. And then there's a place where you can just request more information.
All right, perfect, Alan. I really appreciate you coming on today to talk about it. I know we're a little bit far off from blockchain, but as I see it, the real estate world is changing so much that we need to take everything and anything possible to figure out how do you harness the data and how do you get the right data. And so that's why I'm so interested in Blue222. With that, I just wanted to let everybody know that we still are selling tickets. We're announcing new speakers every day for the Blockchain Real Estate Summit 2024. That's happening September 24th through the 26th. I got to tell you, the speakers and the people that we have this year are outstanding. The growth that we've seen since we started in 2021 is just amazing. And now you see this focus on people wanting to invest in real world assets, and with companies like Blue222 and with some of the stuff that's happening, the real estate market is becoming global, and the world is becoming a lot smaller because you can figure out how to invest in other markets with a lot of the stuff at the touch of your fingers. So with that, I thank everybody for coming, and I really thank Alan coming from blue222.com. Go check him out. Bye now.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you for listening to the Blockchain Real Estate Podcast, hosted by the Blockchain Real Estate Summit. Don't forget to sign up for the Blockchain Real Estate Summit 2024, happening this September 24th through 26th, online for our worldwide audience. Get your tickets at blockchainrealestatesummit.com/registration. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to follow the Blockchain Real Estate Podcast on your favorite platform and leave us a review. Your feedback really helps increase the visibility of our show, allowing us to reach more listeners like you. If you have someone in mind you would like us to interview, you can go to blockchainrealestatesummit.com and leave a comment.
Hi, this is Adam Carswell, the voice of Liberty. This podcast is solely intended for informational and entertainment purposes only and is not intended to provide tax, legal, investment, or accounting advice. You should consult your own tax, legal, accounting, or investment advisors before engaging in any transaction or undertaking. Thank you for listening to the Blockchain Real Estate Podcast, which is a part of the Blockchain Real Estate Summit Network. Go to blockchainrealestatesummit.com for more information, free reports, and giveaways with free stuff. Thank you.